Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. There is a quick question we have from the book Vedanta Treatise. It is said that if you lack the feeling of oneness, consider yourself separate and distinct from the rest. You would fall out of harmony with the world. Kindly elaborate this statement with reference to detachment. Oh, essentially, the problem is we think detachment is I should feel away from you. Detachment is not feeling away, please. It is distancing with reference to the separateness that we have. That is called detachment. Detachment is not to be treated as indifference. Today, the problem we feel is we take detachment means indifference. And love is involvement. This is the fundamental misunderstanding we have. That's why the confusion is. Because he says you got to feel one. But at the same time, he says detachment also. So isn't it detachment means I should feel different from you? No, that's the problem. Love is your ability to feel that oneness, where I don't carry the notion of you are different, I am different. That ability to drop the differences, your ability to stay away from the idea that you are different, I am different, is called detachment. The other side of love. The coin of love has the other side. That is detachment. It goes hand in hand. Love and detachment will go together. It's not that they are two different things. It's the same thing. You put love in the other way, that's detachment. But then we get really confused because either you say this or that because of our division, our ignorance. That to me, love means involvement, detachment means indifference. So once you remove those two notions and then read that statement, it will make sense. Falling in harmony means what? And he gives an example of the body. How different organs in the body function harmoniously. Of course, he is taking very, very normal one. He is not going into the very subtle aspects of body. If you take subtle aspect of body, your body is nothing but the colony of cells. Right? Average is about 100 trillion cells human body has. It's not one body. It is anywhere between, depending upon the size of the person, maybe 70 trillion cells to 100 trillion cells. All that started with what? One cell. The entire body started with one cell, multiplied into trillions of cells. But that entire trillion cells function as one. How harmonious they are. How they function beautifully. Like when you have a kidney failure, liver doesn't say, anyway, kidney is not working. What is the point? Let me also stop. No. Kidney fails, doesn't matter. Liver continues to do its job. Heart continues to do its job. The stomach continues to do its job. The blood vessels, eye continues to do its job. Ears continue to do their job. Brain continue to do their job. Even though there is a problem with reference to kidney. And what is superb is, look at the coordination that they have in diversified functions of all of them. They don't stop. At the same time, you see contrastingly, when you go to sleep, all the senses go to rest. You realize that. Your eyes shut. All the five senses shut. You can't you can't smell. When you are sleeping, you can't smell. It is shut. You can't hear, shut. When you go to sleep, it's all shut. You wake up, all of them wake up together. You see these two things? Now go back to the first idea. One organ failed doesn't mean other organs don't do their job. They continue as though they are independent, isn't it? It appears as though liver has got no connection to kidney, eyes have got no connection to ears. Of course, just because your eyes are not working doesn't mean you can't hear, you can't smell, you can't touch, you can't taste. It's not like that. Those things function. So it looks as though they are compartmentalized, different. But at the same time, you find them working together. What is working together? Together they go to sleep, together they wake up. What a coordination. Imagine one day, one of your senses were to say, why should I sleep? I am full of energy, so let me be active. Let me be active. Each one were to do their own things, what will happen? At the same time, since that is not functioning, therefore I am also not going to function if they say also what happens. That's called harmony. If you can feel like that, function like that, with reference to your relationships. Now, when we say world, don't take it as the objective world, please. We are not talking about 7 billion population. You won't even know how many are there existing in the world. That doesn't mean you have to love people. Now, invariably, when we say love, your ability to love a stranger is far more than an ability to love your partner in the house. Your ability to identify with the stranger's pain is far more than the near and dear ones today. You don't feel that. That's lack of identification. Your identification should start from where? Home. Home should be the center of your affection. That's where it gets manufactured. That's where it has to be generated. But somewhere we just hold it only to that area. Anything that is constricted, restricted, putrefies. You see, it's like water flowing. It should keep flowing. If it doesn't flow, if it is held in a place, it deteriorates and turns poisonous. It starts breeding, it becomes a fantastic breeding ground for mosquitoes. And then you get chikungunya, dengue, this one, that one. Thank God, fortunately this is not, corona is not spreading through that. Imagine corona were to be spreading through mosquitoes, what would be the condition? you know Nature, gives a leverage. It says, hey, wake up man, it says. Now love, he says, is your capacity to feel that oneness, wherein you don't believe that I am separate, you are separate. There is no compartmentalization. Of course, your contribution, your obligations, your actions, your personality is totally different from another person's personality. There is a difference. You do your own job, they do their own job. Husband has his own role to play, wife has her own role to play. There's no point in asking who is important, who does a greater contribution to family. You see, so many people talk about mother's contribution. Hardly we recognize the father's contribution. A fellow goes out and has to face 101 insults. He puts up all those things. For what? Now, immediately don't start, this women liberation. What is it? Only that you mean to say women should not go out? I have nothing to do with all that, please. You go out, you stay in, you stay in. That's not my job. Because the world is not going to follow as per my instructions, please. Both have to contribute. What is his contribution is different. What is her contribution is different. What is the contribution of a grandparent? Different. Grandfather is different. Grandmother is different. A child is different. The contribution of a child, that is different. Each one is contributing, isn't it? You can't, deny. Now, a lot of us would have experienced it during this lockdown period, where they're not allowing the maids to come to house, to work. What was happening for those 2 months? Everything has to be done by you. You have to clean. Indians also were functioning like Americans for those 2 months. Because there they don't keep maid and all that. Everyone does their own job. Entire household work is done by themselves there. But not in India. India, even an average middle class family has a maid. You don't need to be in US you have to be a super rich to have a maid. If a maid is coming to somebody's house, means they are very big people. Like in India, we don't. We keep. Now this 2 months, what was happening to all of us? The first 1 week, they were all, writing in the books, putting up in the Facebook, Instagram. We are enjoying cooking. The husband is cooking one day. That's all. Ask him to cook every day. What happens? You do your own things. They do their own things. Management has a role to play. Laborers have a role to play. Together only company is. Company is not exclusively laborers, exclusively management. Country means industrialists, agriculture, defense. So many aspects are there. All put together is a country. Now, if one department has a problem, doesn't mean all the department stops. Now, everyone has to function. At the same time, shut down, everyone shuts down. Start, everyone starts. That ability to balance these two is what is known as falling in harmony. That's why he gives the example of the body first. Yes. Now imagine if it were to be 100 trillion cells functioning with such coordination to believe as one body. Do we feel there are 100 trillion cells in the body? Each cell is an individual by himself. That's what science says. You speak to those scientists, it's amazing to study anatomy of a human. How is that one cell decides that I am going to be part of kidney, I am going to be part of a liver, I am going to become heart, you become eye? Who decided that? Isn't it? Just one cell, right? That one cell divides itself, multiplies, and the child is growing. But suddenly, how is it that they decide, okay, I will become part of a muscle, you become part of bone? Who told them that? How did they decide? On their own. Imagine all of them want to become only muscle. We don't want to become bone. Yeah, I don't want to become intestine. All that, dirty things comes. I don't intestine, I don't want it. I want to become only what is celebrated. What is celebrated by all of us? Eyes. Everybody wants to become only eye, let's say. What would have happened to the body? That ability to keep your individuality at the same time feel that oneness. That is called love. This distinction, if you can understand, enough. Detachment, don't worry about detachment as of now. Because detachment you can understand only when you understand attachment. It has got nothing to do with love. Detachment can be only understood from the angle of attachment. What is attachment? Then you can understand detachment. What is attachment, sir? Attachment is I maintain a relationship for the benefit that I am deriving from that relationship. That's all. If I gain something from that, I will maintain the relationship. If I am not gaining something from that, I'll reject that relationship. So, a relationship maintained for selfish ends. What I gain out of it, that's called attachment. Opposite of that is detachment. What is it? I maintain relationship independent of what I gain. I may gain, I may not gain. The focus is not that. Then what is a focus? That is a different thing. But first thing is whether I get benefit or not. I maintain the relationship. The moment there is no benefit, my ends are not satisfied. If I'm not getting what I want, I drop that relationship. That is called attachment, selfishness. Removing selfishness from that relationship is called detachment, which has got nothing to do with the other person. You see, it is to do with my selfishness. My ability to drop my selfishness, stay away from selfishness is called detachment. So, when I put it in a positive sense, in an active voice, love. Passive voice, detachment. Direct, love. Indirect, detachment. Same thing. It's only a voice difference. Like we say, no, Rama killed Ravana. Ravana was killed by Rama. That's all the differences. Same way, two sides. One angle you look at that, it is called love. Same thing you look from another angle, that's called detachment. It's the same thing. See, harmony is that. Harmony, remember the example of body. How organs function independently, at the same time, they function as one whole unit. Is your family like that? Forget about world, forget about this, that, and all. Right? This is what we talk. A person comes and says, I want to, hold World Peace Conference. He said, are you a divorcee? The fellow says, yes. Then you are not fit to talk about world peace. You are not able to live in peace with one person. You are talking about world peace. You see, it becomes, big problem for us. It's very easy to talk about world peace. That's why Christ's advice is a beautiful advice he gives. He says what? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Can you? Why? Impossible. Why you can't love your neighbor? Because they are close to you, isn't it? Like, I don't like certain food. This garlic, I don't like. My neighbor, even when they are cooking rice, they have to put garlic and then cook. I'm just giving an example. Okay, don't think my neighbor is like that. Fortunately not. This side. There's the other side. There are three sides, no. This side neighbor is not like that. The other side neighbor is exact opposite. And the best part is, their kitchen and my bedroom is adjacent. So whatever they cook in their house, I know. Many times I can't sleep in my room actually. Now can you love thy neighbor? So difficult. But it is very easy for me to love all you people. Why? I can love all of you. Why? There is no relationship. You see, there's no connection between you and me. That's why Krishna in the Gita is discussing about, the 35 qualities of a bhakta. He doesn't say, love all beings. He says, the quality, your love strength is defined by, he says, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, he says. No hatred to all beings. No hatred to any being. It's the same thing. Loving all, not hating all, it's the same thing. But he doesn't say love all. He says, don't hate anyone. Why? It's very easy for all of us to claim that I love everyone. Particularly when you grow old. As you grow old, you will not. But ask your grandchild, right? Do you hate anyone? They will start giving the list. That Sujit, that this fellow, that lady, that teacher, this one, that one, they'll give a list. I hate them, they say. But think for yourself, do you hate anyone? You have to really struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle to say, no, I don't hate them. I hate that quality in that person. That's about it. Not that person. You will start justifying. You see, that is called delusion. That is why detachment is not available for you. Because of that delusion, it clouds your thinking completely. You can't see that reality. A child is innocent, so it will express straight away. It hates means it hates. It loves means it loves. It's total for the child. For adult, as you grow old, you start fooling yourself. That is why Krishna says, no hatred to any being. That is why these people discuss more of detachment than love. Right? Detachment will show your mantle very easy. Your hatred is very easy to show. Yes. Can you love your neighbor? Meaning closest to you. It is true with reference to two houses, with reference to two streets, with reference to two district, two states, two countries. Every country in the world has problem and disputes with the neighboring country. But we are very, very friendly with the far off countries. The countries with which we don't have direct link. We are very friendly with them. I'm not talking about political, diplomatic, adjustments. I'm not talking about that. A genuinely, feeling of oneness. Now, look, come into one country. Between states, you see, is there any two states which is not having a border fight within country? In the district, people object for releasing water. One state, water should not be given to that district, should be given to this district. Fight happens. What about that? That's why Christ said, love thy neighbor. Can you? It's very difficult. Same thing Krishna puts it the other way around. He says what? Adveshta sarva bhutana. No hatred to any being will show your quality of love. Definition of love, you go direct. If you want to know the quality of love, come from the other side, detachment. How detached you are will show the quality of love. That's the connection between what is the connection, sir? Why there has to be two sides to it? Because one gives you the concept. What is love? The second dimension gives you how do you determine the quality of that? Quality of your love can be determined only through this. So that's the connection between these two things, this harmony and detachment. What is feeling one and detachment? Now coming to the text. Now we have seen few facets of emotions. Now what you need to understand essentially is emotion is nothing but the outcome of your thoughts flowing. We have studied that earlier in the definition of mind. What is mind? Mind is collection of feelings, emotions, desires, likes and dislikes, impulses. All this is coming from where? Thoughts only. Now, since there is a link with all this, he is starting to probe into what is the root of an emotion, from where that emotion comes from where they spring. Now, a little philosophical it will go now. Okay. Little theoretical it will go. Sometimes it may go overboard also. So pay little, attention to another 2-3 minutes. And then you can continue to do whatever you are doing. That's okay. Right. It is. Those who are listening to it, if you are keeping two windows together, keep only this window on for next 5 minutes perhaps. Now the question comes is, why does thought arises in the mind itself first of all? From where that thought comes? Why thought comes to human? From where it comes? We do get thoughts, but from where? I'm not going into the derivation of it. I'm only straight away going into the declaration part of it. Okay, because derivation comes in the part C, section 3 of the book. There he would be analyzing that. In the last chapter only he does that analysis, because it demands a lot of preparation. So in the study of philosophy, you can never start beginning, complete one full concept and then go to the next concept. That's not the way we can study philosophy. You study a little, leave it, and take up some other concept, next concept. Study a little, leave it. And always we will begin in between and leave in between. Sometimes, people get irritated with that. That's why a lot of people don't study philosophy, because it doesn't start and complete. That's it. There's nothing more than this. It's not like that. But then we will come back to it again after some time. With all that understanding of another 3-4 ideas, you come back to that old idea, your ability to understand and appreciate it gets better. With that better understanding and better appreciation, you start seeing a newer dimensions of it. So the study of philosophy always goes like this. It has a range you cover, and then you go little deeper and go round, and then go little deeper and go round, little deeper, go round. So here we are going into the very root from where these emotions come from. Now, emotions are coming from thoughts flowing. If the thoughts were not flowing, there is no emotion. What is the proof? In deep sleep, where there are no thoughts, there is emotion. Love, kindness, compassion, this, that, nothing is there. No emotion you can experience. Why? No thoughts. Now the question they ask is, so from where the thoughts come? Emotions are coming from thought flow. A thought flow should have a starting point, isn't it? A river flowing means it must have a starting point, no? The river, Ganges, Ganga is flowing, it has to have the Gangotri. Similarly, the Kaveri is flowing means it should have Tale Kaveri, the starting point. Now the starting point of this thoughts, if I say, is they have discovered it. It's like Newton saying, there is law of gravity. How many of us have studied the derivation of that? We know law of gravity. What does it say? Every object is attracted towards the center, 32 feet per second. This we have studied. But how many of us have studied the derivation of it? Don't think that you are sitting on apple fell, a last story. Nothing of that happened actually in this life, please. Okay. He slogged for that idea for about 2-3 years. And then he derived it. Okay. It's not that, he was sitting there and then, one apple fell on his head. And then suddenly he got a last story by people. There is no truth to it, please. There's no fact to it. It's an imagination. It's very interesting for us, that's about it. Like Thomas Alva Edison is not the person who invented electric bulb. You know that? There are 3 fellows invented before him. All that this man did is he bought those copyrights from those fellows and made a manufacturing and made it available to the common man. Which was available in the laboratory, he brought it to common man. That's why a lot of people think, he is a better businessman than a scientist. Amazing fellow, a great personality, who has done enormous. Of course, it's not easy. It's not that. Don't think immediately he just collected the things. Of course, he had to do a lot of work to derive the things, but it is not to be him alone. You see, so it is derived. How did they arrive at it? Is a different equation. That study has to be done separately. But the conclusion is this. They said, every human is experiencing a sense of void, a sense of unfulfillment, sense of wanting, a sense of incompleteness exists in every human. So long as that sense of incompleteness exists, void exists, you cannot keep quiet. You have to fill that void. To fill that void, which is experienced internally, the thought starts running. That is the starting point of a thought. So, a sense of void is experienced. That sense of void experienced gives birth to thought. And the thoughts keeps flowing, right, in a particular direction. And it gives a simple example. Always when you are trying to understand it with a simpler example and then complicate it. Right? Straight away, don't take a complicated examples. Any concept, when you are learning, try to get it in a simple, direct examples. Whenever your stomach is empty, your thoughts run towards food to fill that, isn't it? When your stomach is empty, your thoughts will not run towards music, isn't it? When you are hungry, you will not get the thought of music. You will get the thought of food only. After the stomach is filled, you may get other thoughts. But the moment there is emptiness, your thought comes. That ignorance, that void that you are experiencing is called ignorance. And the best part of it is this. Now, this is not what we study. A fascinating idea of Vedanta is this. They say the void that you are experiencing is imaginary, not real. It's an imaginary void. However, whether it is imaginary or real doesn't make a difference. Your thoughts will run. Okay. So first step is every human experiences a sense of void. In the description of the void, they say, with what you can fill that pit, that imaginary pit. I can see clearly with all of you who are in front of the system, or mobile phone or iPad, whatever you have, behind you, I can see there is a person sitting. And he is calling. Don't look back. Okay. He is asking and he is waving hand. Now, some of you think, hey, what happened to you, fellow man? You are talking okay. We know you sometimes you blabber, but not to this extent. What's wrong with you? Say. Now, you turn back and see nobody is there. Then where is that fellow, sir? My imagination. Okay. I have imagined. Now, with my imagination, I created that person there. Now, what you can do to chase him away? How can you chase that fellow away? I say, ask him to leave. As long as if he is sitting there, I will not teach Vedanta to you fellows. Ask him to go. Like in the live classes, I used to tell people, tell that guy to leave. The room, suddenly I will tell. Everyone will look at that side, the door. As I ask the man to go, why is he standing there and laughing, smiling at me? Ask him to go there. Don't disturb the class. And everyone will look. And the best part is they turn back and look at me. That is the best thing. They look at me and say, nah, sir, there is nobody. I said, no, he's standing there. See, he is showing faces at me. It's disturbing. Ask him to leave. Only then I can teach. I can't continue the class otherwise. Where is he, sir? My imagination. Now, that imaginary person, to shoo him away, what is it that you can do? With what you can shoo him away? Can you threaten him? Can you lift him and throw him out? Can you call police? You may call a hospital, mental asylum to take me, perhaps. But definitely not nothing can be done. You see, same way, these masters, they say, the void that you are experiencing itself is imaginary. Now you are trying to fill it up. With what, sir? That is where the thoughts keep running towards the world to grab things to fill that pit. When you are hungry, I switch on Madurai Mani Iyer music. Listen. You like it, no? Kambodhi Raga. Listen to that Kambodhi Raga. You say, hey, I'm so hungry, I can't even hear. My ears are all blocked. How because of hunger? Fill my stomach here. Say, with what? If it is real, it can be filled. If it is imaginary, if my hunger is imaginary, how much ever you feed me, I will never feel satisfied. That's what happened to a fellow. One fellow started imagining there is a bee just gone inside his body and it is flying. And he was telling people, it is here, it is here, it is there, it is there, it is there, it is there, all that. And no one knew how to treat him. So they brought that fellow to one psychiatrist. And he said, I know how to treat that fellow, you don't worry. And he called his assistant and he was telling him something. And he said, yes, everyone was telling, is not. But this psychiatrist agreed. I know I could see that. There is the bee inside your body and he is flying. But you have to cooperate for me to catch. Now you can't catch him. Only I know how to catch him. Okay. So I would, as he's moving, you keep telling me where he's going. Then I can understand his path, anticipate the things and catch that fellow. You don't worry. And he brought him to the table and he laid him on the surgery table. And he brought one cup, glass, and he kept it. Wherever that, your bee is flying, you tell me. Then I'll take it quickly there and catch it. Meanwhile, he has told his assistants to go and fetch one bee from the garden. And all those, MD specialists, they're all searching for one bee there, trying to catch a bee. Somehow they managed to catch one bee and they brought. As soon as they brought, what he has done is he puts that bee inside the glass and says, see, I had caught this. The bee is caught. Are you happy? And the man woke up. He saw the bee. He told all his people, See, I told you guys, there's a bee in the body. You guys didn't believe. Yes. Doctor, thanks for proving that I'm correct. But all these days, doctor, I was thinking there was only one. Now I realize there is two. One you have caught, the other fellow is inside. Now what do you do with him? You can go on catching the bee. The bee will be permanently inside only. That void to go off is called spiritual. An enlightened master means the one who has understood that the void that I'm experiencing is imaginary and my real nature is infinite, paripurna. This is not the focus right now. Okay, what is behind that void? What is that void? We are taking for granted void, and we are moving to thoughts. Wherever there is void, there will be thoughts running. So forget whatever I said. Now you can continue to do whatever you are doing. Right? Ideally speaking, you can delete also. The last 10 minutes of talk you can delete also. Doesn't matter. Now, wherever there is void, the thoughts will run. When that thoughts keeps running towards the world with the idea of what? Remember this, the thoughts run towards the world to bring something, get something to fill that void. When that thoughts run the thicker stream, that is called desire. So void, thoughts, desire, referred as kama. So as long as you have void, there will be thoughts. As long as you have thoughts, they will gather momentum. They will become thicker and thicker and thicker, and it will become desire. Desire is what? A plan to fill the void. That's a desire. Void is caused by what, sir? Ignorance. That's all. From where that void comes? Ignorance of your true nature. So the moment you know your true nature, that is paripurna, no void. No void, no thoughts. No thoughts, no desire. Nothing of later on. Okay. But you are ignorant of your real self. Since you are ignorant, you experience the void. Since you experience the void, the thoughts will go. Once the thought starts running towards the world, it will become thicker. The thicker stream of thoughts is called a desire. Now the problem starts. Desire is always what, sir? Buy one, get 6 offer. Free. The moment you buy desire, 6 things are given free to you along with that. Right? Those who are, you may not get all 6. Okay? Everybody doesn't get all 6, but more or less everybody gets it. The moment you have a desire, there is a problem. Your desire may get fulfilled, your desire may not get fulfilled. For whatever reason. Your desire may not get fulfilled because of some reason. Something doesn't allow your desire to get satisfied, to get fulfilled. I want to get it. Something is obstructing me getting it. Why I want to get that? Because I believe that will fill my void. So one person goes towards wealth. One fellow goes towards relationship. One fellow goes towards knowledge. One person goes towards power. One person goes towards fame, name. Each one goes in their own method. That relationship, that particular relationship with that particular person in that particular manner will fill my void. Then I will feel fulfilled. Then I will feel complete. Till I get that, I feel incomplete. Now, one person thinks with reference to money, one fellow thinks with reference to power, name, fame, position, status, respect, relationship, anything. The difference amongst all of us is the way in which the area through which we are attempting to fill that void. That attempt to fill that void is called a desire. The moment you are attempting to fill that, that attempt may encounter a disturbance, an obstacle. The moment there is an obstacle to fulfill my desire, my thoughts cannot run towards that desire. Now the thoughts will run towards the obstacle. It cannot run there because there is an obstruction. It is moving here. Now suddenly I put an obstruction, what happens? There is a noise. The river is flowing. There is no noise. The moment you put a stone there, a rock, obstructing the flow of water, there is noise. That noise is called anger, krodha. So anger is what, sir? Anger is nothing but deflection of desire. Desires get deflected. That's called anger. So long as you have desire, you will experience anger. You can't remove that. All of us want to drop anger, retaining desire. That is why we can't succeed. So long as I have an expectation, so long as I have a desire, so long as I have a want, a need, whatever word you use, it's all same thing in this context. Of course, there are different shades to it. But today's context, we take it as synonymous terms. Want, desire, need, necessity. All that is same thing. I believe it is a necessity. That is my desire. You may not feel that. I feel minimum requirement for me is a triple bedroom house. Double bedroom is not enough. I need a triple bedroom. At least 2.5. Right. And I will give my own justification. What is my justification? One room for me, one room for my child, and one room for my studies. No. Perfectly justified. And then another person says what? Sir, 2.5 is not enough. I need 5 bedroom. Another person may say, I need 27 floors. Right. I wonder, suppose if he misses the car key, right? One of our student here, he was telling, they had 30 rooms in their house. I was a student here in Bangalore. They had 30 rooms in the house. That house had 30 rooms. So every day his daughter would come and ask him, it seems, today in which room you want me to sleep? They say, okay, go and sleep there. Room number 7, go. Okay. Room number. I said, that's not a house, that's a hostel, I said. You see, because only hostels have, that many rooms and all that. I said, you have a home or a hostel? Now for him, 2.5 bedroom is what? Now I will say what? Hey, why do you need 30 rooms? But I would genuinely feel what? Triple bedroom is perfectly correct. And nothing wrong in that. The fellow who is going by a bicycle genuinely feels going by a two-wheeler is his desire. But he would definitely criticize a man who says, I want a BMW. He says, that's greed. That is wrong. But this is correct. Now, for each one of us, remember, my desire is my need, my necessity. But what is interesting is, when I have that desire, when I am attempting to fulfill that desire, always there is a possibility of something in the external would not fall in line, would not be conducive, may come and disturb. Once the disturbance comes, it can be as innocuous as a couple telling me this some time back. Sir, every day morning, I lose my temper. Every day morning. This has been happening for the last how many years? 7.5 years it's happening, Ishwaran. Now you tell me what to do. What is the problem? The problem is the toothpaste. This man wakes up first. The lady wakes up later. He goes first. He squeezes the toothpaste from the middle. And her anger is, I get irritated. The sight of that, you squeeze from the middle, the toothpaste, it can be as simple as that. It puts off. But to that person, that is a desire. You see, toothpaste should be squeezed. How many times to tell him? How many times to tell him? How many times to tell him? I said, you tell me what to do. He says, his argument is, what difference does it make? Right? I'm not taking, the shaving foam. I'm using only the toothpaste only. No. What is your problem here? They're asking what to do there. I said, it's so simple. Why are you fighting for this? Buy 2 toothpastes. You use Colgate, let him use, close-up. What is the problem? So that's a foreign one. Now we have to change it. You get Patanjali, he gets Dabur. Indian. Buy only Indian products. So buy Dabur. Let him, you use Dabur, let him use Patanjali. Problem solved. What is your problem? You don't even look at that, no. But what's interesting is, when my desire gets interrupted, I get anger. So anger is what, sir? Is a byproduct of desire not getting fulfilled. So long as you have desires, there will be interruption. So long as there is interruption, there will be anger. If your desire is strong, strength, intense, to that same intensity will be your anger also. If the desire is weak, your anger also weak. If your desire is strong, anger also strong. Directly proportional. The proportion between your desire and anger, same thing. 1. This is why, Ishwaran, we tell people that your desire should get fulfilled. That is why we all work so much so that my desire doesn't get unfulfilled, it gets fulfilled. When your desire is not fulfilled, you have one problem. When your desire gets fulfilled, you get 4-fold problem. The moment your desire gets fulfilled, first problem is what, sir? Fear of losing it. The moment you get anything, instantly you get fear of losing it. So long as you are not having, you will never feel. You see, losing that is too much to take. Otherwise, why do you think, this Roger Federer has to keep playing even at this age? For wealth? To lose that number 1 position, to lose that first rank status. You should speak to all these students, join IIM and IITs. Because those guys who join there, that IIM, the IIT, till then in their school, always they are first rank. Number 1. Suddenly they walk into the classroom, they are one amongst. One in that group, that's all. What happens to you? It's such a pain to lose it. You should have it to lose it. Now, whatever you have to lose, that is a problem. You have a status. Imagine you lose that status and you have to fall down. is a tragedy. Now, I have a name. Ishwaran speaks Vedanta well. Nobody says that. I'm only saying. Okay. Right. Now, every class I come and sit, what is a fear now? Losing my audience. Ayyo. The moment I see one more person is also starting Vedanta class, what happens? Online Vedanta class is happening. One more person starts. What happens to me? Fear comes of losing. The moment you gain something, instantly you get the fear losing it. Suppose you escape there, you fall into the next trap. Wanting more, greed, lobha is known as. The first one is kama, second one krodha, the third one is bhaya, fear of losing whatever you have gained. Now it is lobha, greed for wanting more. Ravana had harem, supplied from heavens. He had Mandodari, who is as good as Sita. There's no big difference. But still that fellow says what? I want Sita also. You see, that's called lobha. You want more of it. You want more of it. You want more. Little more I want. Little more I want. First, the boy would tell, all that you have to do is keep looking at me. That's enough. And then, is looking enough? No, 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 no. You have to come and sit next to me. Is that enough? He comes and sits next to me. As you know, he comes and sits next to her, then what? Hold hands. Holding hands enough? No, 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 no. I want more. Then what? More. Then what? More. Then what? More. Then what? More. 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 You keep on asking for more and more. After your desire fulfilled, you ask for more. You want to top it up. You see, the topping up is called lobha. The petrol tank is filled, but you top it up. That's called lobha. Beyond kama is lobha. After kama gets satisfied, you want more. That's lobha, desire for more. Then you have other two things comes parallelly. You become arrogant towards people who are less fortunate and jealous of people who are more. Those who have more than you, you start feeling jealousy, envious. And with reference to people who have less than you, feel. So desire, anger, fear, envy, arrogance, all this connects to this one. Look at the chart. Void produces thoughts. Thoughts produces desire. The desire comes immediately, two possibilities created, fulfilled, unfulfilled. Fear, greed, envy, arrogance, anger. All this results in what, sir? All this creates agitation to the mind, delusion to your intellect. Intellect gets deluded, your mind gets agitated. Deluded in the sense, intellect is clouded, its thinking is stunned, it's clouded. The clouding and stunning of your thinking is called a delusion. You can't think clearly after that. And your mind is agitated. Once those two things happens, you are destroyed. all the emotions that you are experiencing today stems from void. If your emotions were to stem from void, you have no choice but to land in the position of self-destruction. If your emotions were to stem from fulfillment, from knowledge, from understanding, then go to previous facets of emotion, love, kindness, all that is possible. But today, what is happening to all of us? We are all experiencing emotions coming only from this. Now you have to go backwards. Those who are very subtle, very alert personalities, they start attacking that imaginary void directly and dismiss it. Reach to knowledge, fulfillment, experience love, and all that. Those who cannot handle at the stage of void have to go from backwards. Where are you right now? Right now, you are in the ground floor. Where? Self destruction. From self destruction, where you have to move upwards. Reverse, you have to go. When you go reverse, what you need to do? First, handle this agitations and delusion. Handle that through handling your emotions that you are experiencing: anger, fear, greed, jealousy, arrogance, etc. Through this, you can grow further. That growth is defined by your understanding and your love that you are able to experience, your ability to surrender. That desire will not allow you to surrender, to suspend your personality. That is surrender. That's what he is explaining in that poem, Olive Tree. With the poem, we conclude the class.
The olive tree, said an ancient hermit bending half in prayer upon his knee. Oil I need for midnight watching, I desire an olive tree. Then he took a tender sapling, planted it before his cave, spread his trembling hands above it, as his benison he gave. But he thought the rain it needed, that the root may drink and swell. God, I pray thee send thy showers, so a gentle shower fell. Lord, I ask for beams of summer, cherishing this little child. Then the dripping clouds divided, and the sun looked down and smiled. Send it frost to braze his tissues, oh my God, the hermit cried. Then the plant was bright and hoary, but at evensong it died. Went the hermit to a brother sitting in his rocky cell. Thou an olive tree possesseth. How is this, my brother, tell? I have planted one and prayed, now for sunshine, now for rain. God hath granted each petition, yet my olive tree hath slain. Said the other, I entrusted to its guard my little tree. He who made knew what it needed, better than a man like me. Laid I on him no conditions, fixed no ways and means, so I wonder not my olive thriveth, whilst the olive tree did die.
This is the secret of life. You pray to God. If your prayers are answered, be sure the olive tree will die. Then what to do, sir? You plant the seed and forget it. Now our problem is what? You will not plant the seed. At least that hermit planted the seed and then prayed. We are what? We don't plant the seed, but we say, you plant the seed, you grow olive, and give me only oil. in the name of bhakti, in the name of devotion. A desire is all this. Putting conditions to nature, putting conditions to the world. Don't put conditions to the world. Do your job. That is the only way you can delete the desires. Because it is the desire that is standing between you and your real nature. Got it? You remove the desires, you become God. You merge with God. So that's what he gives an equation. Man minus desires equals God. All that you have to do is remove that desire. Now, from where you begin will vary from person to person, but finally you got to remove that desire. You remove the desire, you get it. How do you remove that desire, sir? It gives a fantastic formula. This olive tree, the poet gives a beautiful formula for this. What do you have to do? Plant the seed and entrust it to him. But you have to entrust only after planting the seed, please. Not before that. Before that, you give it to him, nothing will come. You have to plant the seed. So it is life also, please. The universe works in favor of you, provided you plant the seed. And then don't put conditions. That putting conditions is called desire. You see that? Now that's what he's explaining here. What is that? Putting conditions is a desire. You remove that conditioning of yours. Remove your rules. Keep that aside. That is suspending your desires. You suspend your desires. You merge with God. Thank you.